two, one. Hello, guys. Adam here from Switch Indie Fix, and I'm bringing you episode 6 of the Switch Indie Fix podcast. Today is the 25th of May, 2018, and we have a very special guest. Our guest today is one of the admins behind Reddit Nintentube, which is an awesome subreddit for smaller Nintendo content creators. It's a really helpful Reddit for people like me who are just starting out and making reviews and other kind of online content based around Nintendo. And the people there are always really friendly and produce some epic content. And our guest today, if you haven't already guessed, is KoolaidMoonWalk. So Kool-Aid, say hello.
How's it going, guys?
So Kool-Aid, we just kind of talked about it, but would you like to just explain what Nintentube is all about and you know how people can get there and why they should go there?
Sure. Well, Nintentube is a subreddit for content creators who make Nintendo content, but it's also so I guess any kind, YouTube, live stream. If you make art, Switch indie reviews, right? Independent blogs. All of it is content creators, and those are all acceptable for Nintentube. We also cater to fans of content, like just people who like talking about game and playing videos, Arlo, you know, the big guys, right? So we want to appeal to both sides, have a community environment, and you can find us. I guess Google search Nintentube, it should show up if it's Reddit. Yeah. But it's easier to find us on Reddit. The search option, just type in Nintentube, and it should pop up as the first option. And we want to keep growing. Keep finding new content creators and fans. You know, there's so many of them out there. I'm sure we can make a community over here. Yeah,
for me, it's perfect because I actually always thought why did no one ever set up like a smaller a community for smaller content creators and be like, okay, this is just for people starting out. And the thing I really like about Nintentube is how friendly everyone is. Like, you know, you post something on the Nintendo Switch subreddit and you get like no upvotes, no comments, but on Nintentube, you know, everyone is there supporting everyone else. You see a lot of familiar faces, which is always awesome. It keeps me up to date with what all my like colleagues in quotation marks colleagues are doing, and it's a really awesome place.
Definitely.
And speaking of creating content, you're also a content creator. You have your own YouTube channel.
That's right. So I started YouTube in January of 2007. So I have this account for over a decade. Yeah, it's been a long time.
You're like the OG.
Right? I'm OG here. But the problem is I never stayed committed. I would create content for a few months and give up and come back a few years later. And that's why I never gained any traction. So this time, I hope to correct that. I'm staying committed this time. That's my goal. And as Nintentube, I am creating Nintendo content. I try to make different kinds, you know, discussions, rants, you know, let's plays, all you can think of, right? Just I like to have the umbrella of Nintendo content under one channel.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to expect. I just come up with stuff impulsively, but you know, it's a fun thing to do, right? We're passionate about Nintendo and express it through content. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, I think that, and I really like this stage. What we're kind of all at now, like everyone in our under our content creator umbrella, where we can experiment and see what works and what doesn't work. And, you know, if you want to make a video about some small niche game, you can make it and maybe you'll find an audience for that. Or if you want to make a video about Super Mario Odyssey, which obviously has a bigger appeal to more people, you can do videos like that and you can just see what happens. Like right now, I really love your Pokemon Let's Plays.
Oh, thank you.
I guess it's kind of like an MMO version
it is,
of Pokemon Red and Green, I guess, or Red and Blue.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I honestly, I just put it on in the background when I'm I don't know, like I'm making dinner or I'm cleaning, and it's just like nice to listen to, really chilled out. But then I like that the game itself is kind of different because it's not what you expect. It's not the traditional Red and Blue.
Oh yeah, they changed the dialogues and story. Yeah, you're right.
So it's nice having that kind of surprise there, and I think you're really funny in it. I'm kind of always laughing.
I appreciate it, man. You and AJ Boredom, you guys keep me going with that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like that's what I really love about this kind of community that we're all kind of a part of, is that we support each other because we know how it feels to, you know, maybe put a video out, have only 5 views, and be like, why am I doing this? And then you get someone who's like, oh yeah, that was a great video. I really enjoy it. Please make another, and it gives you that little boost.
Definitely.
So yeah,
all it takes is one comment to validate you making that video, right? Because someone takes interest in it and then they invest in it. it means so much. So definitely, I see that a lot on Nintendo, but I hope it keeps going.
Yeah, me too. So, speaking of further content, I need your questions for next week's podcast. So, if you have any questions about Nintendo news or indie game news on the Nintendo Switch, please head over to switchindiefix.com/SIF podcast for next week's show. And right now, I'm just going to go through the housekeeping. So, tomorrow, hopefully, Saturday morning, which is, fits in well with the review. My review of Saturday Morning RPG should be going up, and I'm also planning on doing like a new sales list because there's a few pretty awesome games been put up on the eShop on sale, at least in Europe anyway. I don't know about the US and Canada.
And North America too for I think Panda or some beer game, some beer party game, right?
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's worth checking out. I will also be putting up the audio from the podcast up on YouTube. So if that's easier for a lot of the listeners to listen to it on YouTube, please make sure you go over there. The first video, well, I guess the second video did pretty well. I got a lot more views than I expected, so that was good. And if you could subscribe there, that would be great. And on Wednesday night, and I hope you can be there, Kool-Aid, on Wednesday, the May 30th, there will be a gaming chat over on the Indie Fix Discord. I'm planning on playing Splatoon 2, Mario Kart, and maybe the Mario Tennis Aces demo if it has online play. I'm not sure if it does or not. But if it does,
you mean I don't know about the demo. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's called like the online tournament or something. So I assume that it must have an online version or an online part to it. So I hope if that's the case, then yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out. I'm super excited for Mario Tennis. Are you looking forward to it?
Me personally, I'm not.
No,
I prefer Mario Strikers and Mario Sluggers.
Yeah.
That is, I feel like I'm more invested in it. But definitely, I can see the appeal of this game.
Yeah. I was just excited for another like just for Nintendo to keep the ball rolling. But here's like another first party game. It might not be the game everyone wants, but I'm like it's going to be like good quality. It's going to be fun, and it's a sports game. It's like the perfect to get you in the summer mood.
Definitely perfect for like party games, right?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, maybe I'd prefer the football game or golf, but yeah, I'm happy with tennis. So yeah, so if you want to hopefully come play with us on May 30th, head over to switchindiefix.com/Discord, join up and say hello. And Kool-Aid, do you have anything coming out this week? Any new videos? Anything planned on Nintentube?
I mean, I recently played Zelda Link Between Worlds for 3DS, and I feel like I might make a video based on that, like an analysis comparing it to Breath of the Wild. So I hope to get that out this week.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
And over on your YouTube, it's just KoolaidMoonWalk, right?
Exactly. Yeah, just KoolaidMoonWalk.
Yeah. Okay. So everyone should head over there and subscribe. I think it's definitely worth your time to head over there and click the subscribe button. So the first section today, and it's going to be interesting to have a co-host do it with me, is the news. So on this week's news, there are, and I forgot to write down the number, I think there is six items on the list, and that's half a baker's dozen. I don't know, Kool-Aid, if you get the reference to the baker's dozen. I say it every time.
No, I don't.
No? Okay, well, it's like a lot of the people, especially in Discord, are fans of these content creators called Kind of Funny and Kind of Funny Games, and they have a joke where whenever they do the news, they say it's a baker's dozen, even if it's only like 9 news items. So I thought I'd kind of play on that joke. From now. Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of a meme within a meme. So I hope a few people get the joke who listen. But anyway, so the first news story today is, and again, kind of fits in well with my review tomorrow, is that Saturday Morning RPG gets a limited, what's it called? Limited games?
Oh, physical version?
A limited run physical version.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I think I wrote it down wrong. So reading the news story, it says fitting in well with this week's review, we'll be getting a physical release on the Nintendo Switch. There'll be 2 versions, the standard physical version, which will cost $29.99 US, and the collector's edition, which will be priced at $69.69. The collector's edition is quite like a big edition. It looks really cool and includes 2 carded and posable 3.75-inch action figures of Marty and his arch nemesis Commander Hood, 1 double-sided poster, a cassette tape featuring music from Rocky IV and Transformers composer Vince DiCola, an official Nintendo Switch Steelbook case, one sheet of scratch and sniff stickers, and the Saturday morning RPG for the Nintendo Switch with a reversible cover. There's a lot in this collectible collector's edition. I actually saw on Twitter that the first batch has already sold out, which is pretty impressive because I think Saturday morning RPG is quite like a niche game. Do you know anything about it, Kool-Aid, the game?
Yeah, I went through it a bit. I thought a trailer. So it looks like a very quirky game with a story and like a school setting. That actually looks pretty funny. Like it's a very casual experience. It's not like Octopath Traveler where you have to invest so much into like RPG stats.
Yeah.
So I think it's like you said, one Saturday morning, go ahead and play it. Why not, right? The chill.
That's you pretty much hit the nail on the head. It is like it's almost like a baby's first JRPG or RPG.
Exactly.
Based in like an 80s Saturday morning cartoon. So it's like this kind of ridiculous over the top story. And I think it's set over 5 episodes, and the episodes are about between like a 1 and 2 hours long, depending how much you want to like explore and find the secrets. And it's about this guy who all of a sudden gets these superpowers and goes and fights against this like evil Commander Hood, which I guess is like the almost like Cobra Commander is like the reference there.
Oh, I see.
And then they have all these cool like 80s TV shows kind of bedded into it. So there's like a Transformers parody, Star Wars parody. Like it's like really quirky. The game itself is like okay, but it's like if you're like an 80s kid and you grew up on these TV shows, it's might be up your street to check it out.
Well, this came out a few years ago originally, correct?
Yeah, I believe it came out on mobile devices episodically. I think it came to iOS first and then Android, and then since then it's been pretty much ported everywhere.
Oh, I see.
Obviously recently it came out on the Switch.
I think this will do well. Like RPGs, indie games have done pretty well so far. I think people will enjoy this.
Yeah, I think so too. Like I think it has like a very specific audience that know about it and like the game, and I guess these are the guys that are all doing all the collector's editions, which is cool for the small indie team that made it. Really awesome and cool for limited run games. If you want to try and get your hands on a copy, it goes on sales today. Like I say, the first batch is already sold out. I think all in all there's 6,000 copies been made, so if you want to get it, you better go over to limited run and get your game fast. Story number 2 is finally Wolverblade is getting its version 1.1 patch on the Nintendo Switch. So a historical hack and slash game set in ancient Britain, Wolverblade has a reputation for being extremely unforgiving. However, developer Michael Held, I think is how you pronounce his name, from Fully Illustrated is bringing an easy mode and a bunch of other updates to the game. Other updates reported by Damien McFerrin from NintendoLife.com include boss checkpoints, which is, having played the game, is like a huge overstep that they made. Beast mode, which is an extra mode that is currently locked on the main menu, but once you've completed the game, you unlock it. I guess it's supposed to be like a hard mode. A performance boost, which is always great. It means it'll run better on the Switch. Missing achievements have been fixed, so if you've spent time trying to grind out a challenge, then hopefully now you should get your achievement, and bug fixes. So overall, again, better for performance. I actually bought Wolverblade probably about 3 months ago because I'm like kind of like a history nerd, and
Me too.
really like. Yeah, really. Oh, cool. Yeah, I like the art style, but played it, and I'm not much of a brawler or a hack and slash player, and it is so tough. And like I said in the article, very like unforgiving, and one mistake can pretty much end your run. And the checkpoints are so, each level is split up into 3 checkpoints, so it's like, if you lose to the boss, then you have to go back a third of the level, which was just really frustrating. And there's long load times as well, which makes it even worse. So I think this is all good news. I'm really happy that it's finally come out.
Well, do you enjoy hard games in general?
In general, I prefer like challenging games, right, where like a game where I'm kind of like, okay, it beat me, but I can see what I need to do, and I need to be the one that is doing the correct thing to then get on through the level. So if I make a mistake, I usually am happy to be like, yeah, that's my mistake, I can go back and do it. But Wolverblade wasn't that. Unfortunately, it was just yeah, it's just too unforgiving for me. But I will go back and play it on easy mode.
Okay. For me, like, I don't prefer hack and slash, but like you said, you don't like hack and slash either, preferably, right?
No, not really. No.
But like you said, the aesthetics of it, the story, and it seemed interesting, and I think it's great that they made this big update, this patch. There's a lot in this patch, so it's very nice to see the support.
Yeah. Well, in the game itself, you can tell it's like a labor of love. Like it's historically correct as it can be. Like the battles that happened in the game really happened, and the guy Michael, he actually went and, you know, with his drone filmed like the areas where the battles were taking place, and there's actually like almost like a history book. Like there's facts about what happened and where these people were and why it happened, and it really is like filled with care and detail. But as I'll go on to read, he basically said that the patch was pushed back a long time because they found one bug, or Nintendo actually found one bug that he couldn't replicate, which is really, I guess, really frustrating for him. If you know you think your game's finished and your Nintendo tells you that there's a bug that you can't find and can't like replicate to fix. And yeah, so he said that he couldn't replicate the bug anywhere and therefore struggled to fix it. Now it's all been fixed. I'm looking forward to getting back to Wolverblade.
Well, you said they had to hold back the update 3 months?
Yeah, 3 months. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Wow.
I actually emailed him in, I think, November last year.
Oh yeah.
And with, yeah, you know, I started this website. I'm really excited about your game. It's really up my street. And he said, yeah, we'll be getting like a second round of codes to give away for review soon, because he said, oh, the patch is coming out soon, and we want like a second wave of reviews after the patch has gone out. And like I said, that was back in November. So it shows how much this one bug halted their progress. But what was also interesting is that he said that the sales on the Switch were like far higher than any other platform. I think including PC, PS4, and Xbox, the Switch sold more than all of the others combined, which is really encouraging news. And if you don't follow them, you should follow Fully Illustrated on Twitter. They are very like open about how the whole process behind developing a game, and specifically developing for Nintendo, or for a Nintendo console, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I read that their day one sales are so impressive. They don't think Steam will catch up in a year.
No, yeah, I saw that.
How much is sold?
Yeah, it is, considering, you know, I guess the Nintendo has a lot of users now, but I think when the game came out I think it was August or September, then, you know, it was still on the fence whether it was going to be a success or not, the Switch. So, yeah, it's really impressive.
Definitely, I agree, man. Like, we're seeing this over and over again. Like Blossom Tales, right? Rocket, yeah. Like they're doing all these games are doing very well on the Switch. So I think indie games are here to stay for the long haul, right?
Yeah, and I'm really happy. Yeah, that's exactly why I started Switch Indie Fix, because I kind of thought, yeah, this is like a great platform to play them on, and I had seen them all these new games, or all these indie devs having success after success is like really encouraging. And yeah, if the game sounds interesting to you listening at home, then you can go and pick it up on sale. It's actually 33% off right now, so a third off on the Nintendo eShop. I think that's the cheapest it's been discounted to, and I think it's usually priced around $18. So, you know, you get it less than $15 now, which is definitely worth $15. It's worth the $18. But yeah, especially if you like very hard games.
That's true. Hey, you definitely sold me on this. Based on historical references, now I'm really interested.
Yeah, like I say, it's not often these historical games really get like a spotlight shone on them, apart from maybe the Total War series. But yeah, it's really cool. I think I personally like the art. I think some people are very much on the fence. Like, they're saying it kind of looks like a JavaScript game, like the way the characters move. But yeah, I like it, and it's very like graphic. It holds nothing back. It's interesting, but unfortunately it was just a little bit hard for me.
Sure. Well, I look forward to playing it.
Yeah, cool. So story number 3 is Rocket League gets another update. I'm just going to keep it short, but Rocket League's new arena has been revealed and is releasing on May 29th, which is 4 days from now, which will be Tuesday. Salty Shores, which sounds like it should be a Fortnite location, is a holiday/beach themed arena that will keep you entertained for the whole summer long. So I feel like every week I'm reporting on new news for Rocket League. Psyonix seems to just be like updating it over and over again just to keep people engaged. And yeah, it's awesome. There's a new summer themed arena that will hopefully get new players to play the game and keep the existing players happy.
That's why all I've been playing for the last 6 months is Rocket League because they keep updating
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's like Splatoon, right? They keep bringing out new content. It keeps interesting.
Yeah.
Like it's brilliant what they've been doing.
Yeah, it's just like a great story. Like this kind of small game about cars playing soccer or playing football is now like probably the biggest indie game on the planet, and it's just continuously having success after success.
Definitely, it's great to see.
Yeah, awesome. So number 4 is quite like an interesting story. So Nintendo sells Switches in Japan without a dock. So the story is Nintendo are selling a customizable Switch in Japan. It's aimed at people who want to buy a second Switch and don't want to fork out for things they don't need. The Nintendo Switch second set lets you choose the colors of your Joy-Cons, which I think is like a great idea, and doesn't include the dock, HDMI cable, or AC adapter, and saves you around $50 US. I think it's like a really cool idea. I think when it comes to the West, Nintendo has to be very clear that the bundle doesn't include the charger, because I remember buying my 3DS and not knowing it didn't have a charger. So I thought I got a good deal on the 3DS. It was on sale for whatever price. And I was like, oh, now I have to pay like $30 for a charger too. So that kind of annoyed me a little bit. But yeah, I think this is a good idea to keep trying to sell more Switches. Nintendo said they want, not one per household, but one per person in every household or whatever. So this is a good way to do it and for consumers to save a little bit of money.
Yeah, I agree. I think this would be a big move because they will be able to process more Switches now, and Japan's like the biggest market for portable gaming. So I know for the 3DS, it sold around 60 million, and 20 million sold in Japan. I think the Switch could do really well in Japan, and help make 100 million sold possible for the Switch in total.
Yeah.
So I think it's a genius move by Nintendo.
I do too. What do you think of the idea of like a Switch Mini coming out, where it will just be like a portable Switch, maybe that there's not even Joy-Cons anymore, but the Joy-Cons are fixed and attached, and that it really is just a handheld? Do you think that'll ever happen?
I think it might happen. I don't know if it will do well in North America or Europe. I think that would be like a Japan only thing, for success wise, because it seems doesn't seem great for local multiplayer, which is a great strength of the Switch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, but definitely there's rumblings of that. So maybe it could be true.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. I remember talking about it on one of the shows, that it was kind of a rumor circulating on the internet, and people had mocked up all these different designs for it. And yeah, I think maybe I don't know. I always think like eventually I'd like, if they bring out a more powerful Switch, I'd definitely buy like a more powerful Switch, maybe to leave at home and then take one with me. Always have one in my rucksack to play on the go, and have the other Switch just sit as like an actual console. So maybe, I don't know, if it happens, if the mini Switch is slightly better, has maybe like a slightly bigger screen, because you don't need the black bars around the screen because of the Joy-Cons. Maybe the screen's made a bit bigger and the Joy-Cons are fixed, and maybe I'd pick one up, and if it was a bit cheaper, because I guess they don't need the rumble and the motion sensors in the Joy-Cons if they're fixed to the Switch.
Definitely, there's many cutbacks they can make to make it cheaper and more optimized, especially since we want more third-party games. So eventually they will have to make it more powerful, the system. So we definitely need that, and then hopefully in the near future.
Yeah, cool. So story number 5 is that Banner Saga 2 gets a release date. The first game came out last week, and the sequel will be coming to Switch on June 7th. If you like beautifully hand-drawn art and turn-based combat, you should pick it up. I couldn't find the price, but I think the first game is priced at $19.99. So I assume Banner Saga 2 is going to be around that much. And do you know if they gave a release date for Banner Saga 3?
No, I've not heard of that yet.
No, I think it was just a teaser, right, in one of the indie showcases. So yeah, that's just cool news. I know a lot of people are Banner Saga fans. I personally couldn't really get into the first game. I played it on PS4, but I can understand why a lot of people really like the game.
Yeah, it's been getting hyped a lot on the Nintendo Switch subreddit. So all I've been hearing about the last month is this game. So
Mm.
is it like Fire Emblem style, like the gameplay?
Yeah, it's kind of, so it's on like a grid base, and then you have like obviously there's like four directions you can choose, and you can kind of, if I remember correctly, you can then kind of like combo attacks by like pushing people into other people and getting them hit, and it's very like it seems very simple, but it is very strategic, which I think is like a lot of the hook of the game.
Right.
And I know like a big draw of it is that it's like one of these games where it's like, your decisions matter. So the decisions you make, might kill a character off, and then your save is then carried over into the second game. So you're kind of like picking up the story where you left off, kind of like, like Mass Effect did, and some other like BioWare games kind of do. It has that kind of continuality to it, which I think a lot of people like.
Yeah, it seems very appealing because that would make it stand out from like, because there's been many games like that, like I guess Fire Emblem-esque gameplay. So I can see why this one stands out.
Yeah, yeah, and again, like I say, I think the art style and the graphics is another appealing. Everything's hand drawn and hand animated, or well, hand animated. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's all 2D drawings, which again is like another thing that makes it stand out against other games on the eShop. And the last story, talking about very simplistic or more simplistic hand drawings, is that West of Loathing gets a release date. So this is one of my most anticipated games that is finally coming to the Switch. I actually wrote one, I think it was like the first article I ever wrote on the website was about 10 games I wanted to see ported to the Switch. West of Loathing was on that list. And when I saw it announced at the Switch, the Indie Showcase, I like freaked out and I lost my mind. I was so happy. So it's West of Loathing is a hilarious Western RPG with turn-based combat and simplistic stickman graphics. The game comes out on May 31st, and I really, really can't wait. It's have you seen anything of this game, or do you know anything about it, Koolaid?
Yeah, I saw the trailer yesterday, and there was a lot happening. So I was kind of like, what's going on in this game? Because there's so much action, so it looks very funny.
Yeah, it's again, it's kind of almost like a baby's first RPG. Again, it's like very simplistic. You just kind of putting points into. I think there's 3 classes, and obviously you put your points into strength or dexterity or speed or whatever. Like very simplified, but the writing is just so like very, very, very funny and well written, and it's very like tongue in cheek, and it has this Western setting, and kind of is very self aware of its setting, and a lot of its jokes play off Western cliches and stuff like that. And I actually watched a guy called Northern Lion play it on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, I really hope this game comes to Switch, and I'm really glad it did. I'm really glad it is coming to Switch.
We're pretty fortunate then, because now that we have 2 great RPGs coming out this week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's a good time for it.
Yeah, and I looked it up. I think it's cost €9 on the European eShop, so it's quite like surprisingly cheap as well. I thought it was going to be a bit more expensive.
Oh yeah, very affordable actually.
Yeah, because usually the ports of games like PC games or iOS games get like a slight price up. So I was quite happy to see that it was still like a reasonable price.
Man, you keep selling me on these games. I'm gonna run out of money soon.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm the same. I feel like we've gone through like a dry patch where I was like, there's nothing I really want to play. Like the stuff on the eShop was kind of felt like a bit like shovelware and a bit like, okay, let's just put it on the Switch because the Switch is selling at the minute. And I felt like there was a lull of like good games, but now, yeah, it's like picking up again. And then over the summer, I think there'll be a lot more. And with Mario Tennis Aces coming out and Sushi Striker coming out soon, and I think isn't Dark Souls is also coming out really soon as well. So yeah, there's going to be a lot to play.
Definitely, it's going to be a busy summer.
Yeah, but which is a good thing.
Definitely.
So that was the end of the news. And now we go on to our conversational section at section 2, which is where we talk about what games we've been playing this week. So Koolaid, how's about you go first? Tell us what you've been playing.
I really haven't played much, like Rocket League and Link Between Worlds, as I said before. I've been playing a bit of Breath of the Wild. every
yeah.
once in a while he's gonna replay it because I know there's stuff I've missed, but I haven't
Yeah.
played anything new for a while.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes it's good to just go back and not really feel like you just play what you want to play, like not be like, oh, I have to play this game right now because it's
Exactly,
new or whatever.
because it saves you
Yeah,
money. Because you're not buying the
yeah,
game, right?
yeah, that's very true. Yeah, Breath of the Wild's one where there's so many times where I don't know, I'm at work or I'm doing something. I'm like, oh, I really just want to go back and play it. Or I see like a video on Facebook or Twitter or on Reddit, and I'm like, oh, I really need to go back. But I don't know. I'm kind of like, I guess because I'm doing reviews. Like I try and keep it as what's the word, as
Scheduled or
scheduled or as contemporary. I guess like as like up to date as possible.
right.
So I kind of feel like, okay, I've got to try and play games as they come out and play them as quick as I can. So yeah, like it's unfortunate, like I don't have the time to go back and play it. But that's kind of why I'm doing this game and chat thing, is because it's like I love Splatoon 2. Like it was the game I played before I started my website because I didn't feel like an obligation to play specific games.
Right.
And since starting it, I haven't played it. So now I'm like, yeah, I can't wait for Wednesday night to go back and play it.
Yeah, same. Especially since I never played it with like other people. I always played with random people online. So it should be a fun time.
Same. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I actually played quite a lot this week because I was on holiday, so I had a lot of free time. Again, one of those games I feel like I talk on most shows, but I actually got quite far into Skies of Fury, which is like a World War One airplane fighting, dog fighting simulator. A simulator like, I don't know. It's not really like a simulator. It's more like an arcade version of a dogfight.
Right.
But it's a really cool game. It's very, very like repetitive. It's like, okay, these are the 3 types of missions that you're just doing over and over and over again. But it's kind of that thing where you can just kind of turn your brain off and play it and enjoy it. Like it's not so difficult that you're like stressing out. Like, oh my god, I can't do this level. I'm having to retry all the time. But it's not so easy where it's boring, if you know what I mean. It's kind of hits that nice middle ground. I really like the art style. It's like cel shaded almost, and I think they're going for like a comic book theme with it. It's really cool, and yeah, it's good. It's fun. Like I said, just a little bit repetitive, and it has like this weird loot box mechanic to it, which they give you like these loot boxes, but you don't buy any like cryptocurrency for it or in-game currency. They just give you a loot box every time you level up, and it's kind of just like this really annoying thing where you're like, okay, I've got like 15 loot boxes now I need to go and open, and yet there's no like quick way to do it, so you have to sit there, open it, watch it flash up. Okay, great, I've got like another skin that I'm never going to use. So I just think that was like a weird design decision. I don't know if they were gonna originally try and monetize the loot box system, but it just seems like a strange thing to put in a game.
Oh yeah, because that could backfire in a hurry with the PR, right? So
yeah,
I think it was a good decision.
And then I also played very briefly Death Road to Canada, which is like a roguelike survival, kind of like make your own story game, where you start out with a character in a car, and you have I think it's 14 days to get to Canada, and you basically drive the car along, or like the computer drives the car and then gives you these scenarios. So it's like, okay, you pull up to a village, you're running out of food, you need food. Okay, should you go into the village, or should you drive on, or should you try the hotel in the village, or should you try the police station? And it's kind of then gives you like a forecast of, okay, there's in the police station, there's not so many zombies, but they're very aggressive zombies. Or you can go to the hotel where maybe the reward isn't as high, but there's a lot of zombies, but they're very passive. So there's maybe not so much of a chance of being attacked. And then you go there, you kind of go in, get what you need. It's kind of left up to you, so you can go in and grab one piece of food and leave if you want to. Or obviously, the longer you stay in there, the more rewards you get, but the chance is higher that you get killed. And then along the way, you pick up other survivors and characters, and you basically just go through it for as long as you can until you either reach Canada or your characters get killed. So is
there not really like a story though? Like, it's just choices that lead to different circumstances?
Yeah, it's like the story is there's the zombie apocalypse, and you're trying to get to Canada because Canada isn't infected. But then it comes up with this like, oh, okay, like it gives you these decisions within like this story of getting to Canada where you affect the game. So it might be like, oh, you're lost in the woods. Should your character climb a tree? And you're like, okay, so he climbs a tree, and it's like, oh, he falls out of the trees and dies. So then, that could be like the end of your game if it's the last character you have.
So it could be strategic then, in a way.
Yeah, so you could either play it safe and be like, no, I don't want to go into the police station. I don't want to climb the tree. But then the rewards aren't there, which, then you might not get like a nice gun from the police station, or you might not find out, like see something in the distance from the tree. So it's kind of like a very like carrot and stick situation where, if you do something with a high risk, there's like a high reward linked to it. And the gameplay itself is mostly like you have an attack button, and obviously you move your character around the screen, and like the best way really is to just try and run past zombies. Like there's not really like much of a point of attacking them because they just kill you. So the best thing to do is just try and run past them and loot as quickly as you can, then get out as quickly as you can. So yeah, it's an interesting game. It's different. I feel like it's kind of was feeding off like kind of like YouTube, like Canadian YouTubers. Like I remember first seeing it again from this guy called Northern Lion, who was a Canadian, and then all his friends kind of started playing it because of the name like Canada in it. And I think like it's like a very good way to market the game, to be like, okay, here's these big Canadian YouTubers, let's market the game as a different to Canada, and yeah, try and see if that like affects the sales, which I think it did. But yeah, it's like an okay game. But to be honest, I haven't played that much of it yet.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there is a zombie apocalypse, I'm glad I live in Canada, so I'll be safe now,
Yeah. Well, I don't know the reason why.
True.
Safe, maybe because it's colder. I don't know, but yeah, that's why they're going to. And the last game I've been playing, which I've like totally gotten addicted to, is a game called Wizard of Legend, which sounds just like any generic name for like any kind of magic based video game. Wizard of Legend, like I think they could have come up with a better name, but it's such like an addictive, fun, like progressive game, like a roguelike game where you play as like this wizard who enters a dungeon to like a trials dungeon to try and prove he's like the best wizard in the world or whatever. And you basically have like 4 slots on a bar that you can use magic moves with, and there's like the traditional kind of like elemental moves. So there's like fire, wind, thunder, ice, and earth, I think, and that's it. And you have to try and like with your 4 moves, like kind of mix the moves up, the elements up, so you kind of have like a balanced deck almost. So then the first dungeon you might go into is an ice dungeon, so obviously fire is very effective there. Then the second dungeon might be a fire dungeon, so like I think wind and water or ice is effective there. And then the last one is earth, so then there's like another like effectiveness there. But then the dungeons are all, because it's like procedurally generated, you never know which dungeon you're going into first, so you kind of have to like strategically plan your move set and then just hope for the best in the dungeons. And each move has like a cooldown so you can only use it a certain amount of times. But it's the combat is based on combo, so the higher combo you can get, then you can only use like an ultimate move, which then does more like damage. And yeah, it's just like really, really addictive. Like you go in first with like these basic moves, you're in the dungeon for like 2 minutes, you get killed, but maybe you earn like 5 of these chaos gems. And then you take the chaos gems to a market, you buy like a new move that's a little bit more powerful, then you go in with that move, and then maybe you last like 10 minutes and you come out with 20 gems, and then you buy the next move. And it's like a very slow progression of slightly getting better and better. And obviously as you learn the enemy's patterns and you learn the kind of the rooms of the dungeon, you get better as a player and get further. So yeah, it's like it's a really fun game to play in little bursts, so like 15 minutes. Just try and play through. You probably get killed. Like right now, I'm nowhere near the end. I keep getting killed in the first stage. But yeah, it's just like the perfect like. Oh, I just want to play one more game, one more thing before I go to bed, one more thing before I go to work, one more before I get off the bus, like it's like a perfect Switch game, like, and I really, really, really love it.
Definitely, I can appreciate games like I said in short bursts, right? Whenever you want, just
Yeah,
10 minutes, and that's it. And
yeah,
this game seems like it has a lot of depth for a rogue for that game. So
yeah. That's exactly what it is. Like, I imagine the better you get, the longer the runs last, because you survive longer. But yeah, right now it's really like, okay, I've got 15 minutes, I can do a run, and I'm at that stage now where I'm like, okay, my 15 minutes is up, then maybe I'll just like die in the run on purpose to be like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't really matter that too much as long as I get some chaos gems, and I'm happy because then I can kind of like upgrade my character, and I know the next run I'm going to improve and be better. So yeah, if you like roguelike games, and like, or maybe you're like a person who's waiting for Dead Cells to come to the Switch, then you should definitely check out Wizard of Legend. Like, it really, really scratches that itch. It reminds me a lot of Enter the Gungeon, but I feel like the reward and progression is a lot better in this game. You feel yourself getting more powerful and better at the game, whereas Enter the Gungeon was a lot more like what's the word? Not RPG. What do you call it? Random RNG. Yeah, RNG. Like random number generated.
I see.
So it's just random what gun you get, and if you're lucky enough to get a good gun, that can like really help your run. Whereas this is like you choose what moves you have. If you have the skills, you get further, and the further you get, the more currency you get to upgrade your skills, if you know what I mean.
Seems like you can get a lot of gameplay out of this, right? A lot of
Yeah,
hours.
I think it's endless. Like, if you were one of those people that maybe values gameplay over anything else, like values it over story or graphics or whatever, then yeah, it could just be like hundreds of hours perfecting the game. I guess it just depends how good the end game is. If there's like secrets or secret bosses or something. Because yeah, it's like each dungeon has 2 levels and there's 3 dungeons, and then I think as a final one, which is what I can see now. But like I say, I'm very like early in the game, so I hope that there's like a long end game that keeps people like playing, like kind of like the Binding of Isaac does, where it's like, you for sure you beat the game, but then you might not beat the game again for like, I don't know, another 10 hours or something, and you just keep trying and keep getting better until eventually, like every run, you can win the game. So yeah, it's I really, really like it.
I'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's 15 or 14.99 or something.
See, that's the good thing. Most of the games you're recommending, they're also cheap, so it's not
Yeah,
a big
well,
spend, right?
that's it. Yeah, I'm always like that, like value.
For your buck.
Yeah, like thinking, okay, if I buy like this game for $60 or €60, I could maybe get like 4 like great indie games for this price. So yeah, I'm always like kind of thinking how much a game is and looking. But yeah, so again, I feel like I talked a lot in that section. But yeah, for once, I've actually played quite a range of games, so I was happy about that. And yeah, let's go on to section 3, which is basically the meat of the show, even though we've already been going for 45 minutes. And that is our E3 predictions. So I asked for your guys' E3 predictions over on Twitter and in Discord. Again, if you want to join our Discord, it's switchindiefix.com/Discord. We've got a lot of cool people in there. One of them is CLA, who is very notorious on our server. And I asked him about his E3 predictions, and he says that he believes Nintendo will go mostly third party, which I assume he means like, maybe Bethesda will make an appearance at their Direct, or Ubisoft, or whoever, EA. He says that he thinks they'll release an R-rated Pokemon game, so maybe a Pokemon game that has more adult themes. He says he thinks they'll announce a Wii U game, which he assured me he was serious about. He says Pokemon will come out this year and will not be a huge new change, but it will have new Pokemon forms of Gen 1. So I think what he means is that, like the Alola forms or variants in Pokemon Sun and Moon, I think maybe that's what he means here, that the Gen 1 Pokemon will maybe, I don't know, maybe Bulbasaur will be like a fire type or a water type or something like that, which would be interesting. He also goes on to say that the Pokemon or Pokebank won't work launch day with the new Pokemon game. And he said it will use motions like Pokemon Go as a catching mechanic, so that you swipe to catch your Pokemon. And then he finally says they will show off a project that they have worked together with but they've worked together with Microsoft, and he says he doesn't think it's going to be a Minecraft related one. So I really like those ideas. I think they're very hopeful and kind of out there, but yeah, it's cool that he shared them with me. So thank you, CLA. And Kool-Aid, I saw that you had a predictions video up on YouTube. I know that it focused a lot on Fortnite. So tell us what your E3 predictions are.
Well, yeah, like you said, I do think with the Nintendo Switch Online launching in September, I think they will have a big game to launch with it. So I think Fortnite will come in September for Nintendo Switch. I obviously announced at E3.
Yeah.
And then on the Nintendo side, I think Nintendo will launch Metroid Prime Trilogy. So they ported this on the Wii. I think they will port this for the Switch, right? Just in time for Prime 4, right?
Yeah, that was one of my predictions too. I think they'll bring it out. I think it would be a good idea, get people excited for Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, because there were a lot of people hyped by last year of announcement, right? Of Prime 4 being announced, but I don't know if many of them played the 3 games. So I think it's a great opportunity for them to find out what the Prime series is all about.
Yeah, I hold my hands up. I when I think back, I've had quite a lot of Nintendo systems, but I never really played Nintendo games on. And yeah, Metroid Prime is one of those series. Yeah, that I never got into. I never played it. I don't know why. I guess I was just like a dumb kid back then and just wanted to play FIFA on my GameCube. But so it's perfect for people like me who know the importance of the Metroid Prime series but have never played them. So yeah, I definitely get it.
Definitely, because it's all 3 in one bundle. It's a great buy.
Yeah, and I think they could sell it for $60 as well and be like, yeah, you're getting 3 great games. Each one's worth $20, and they sell it for a full price game.
Oh yeah, definitely, agreed. And I think, like Cal said, there will be a bigger third party involvement with the Switch. I think, like you said, I think Ubisoft will announce a new game for the Switch. And
yeah, me too.
Yeah, hopefully Bethesda, they always port the same games over. We don't need Skyrim and Doom anymore. We need new games, so hopefully they come on the Switch. Yeah. And that's about it for my predictions.
Okay, cool. They were good. You had a lot the same as me. I basically broke mine down into things we know already, so games that they've already announced or spoken about, things that we don't know but have maybe been rumored, third parties, and like a get hype moment. So, some crazy announcement that probably won't happen, but what I'd really like to happen. So for things we know, I put about Smash. I put that it will be a September release date in time for the online structure. I think we'll get, maybe not in the E3 Direct, but throughout they're holding like a Smash tournament after it, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think throughout their tournament and treehouse sessions, we'll get 10 characters announced that weren't the silhouettes on the Smash trailer. So, when the huge Fire Emblem came up and there was like the silhouettes of Link and Mario and like Bowser and they were like the total obvious Nintendo characters.
Right.
I think we'll get at least 10 other characters that weren't in that lineup. So maybe from third parties or maybe from lesser known Nintendo IP or third party IP.
Do you think it'll be 10 separate trailers or like all one compilations?
I think it'll all come as like a one big trailer.
Oh, I see.
Maybe kind of like maybe kind of like a. Well, I don't know actually. Now that I think about it, because I think they will do somewhere they're like, oh, here's like an announcement, Sonic coming to Smash, and it's just like his individual trailer linked in with something else. But yeah, I think they'll do one where there's like one after the other. These are the ones that like coming. We're announcing as Nintendo, but yeah, maybe some of the other conferences might have, I don't know, like Sega might have a video out during E3 that has announces Sonic or whatever. So yeah, we'll see. But I think throughout E3 there'll be at least 10 characters that we know nothing about announced. I think it'll be a new Smash in the vein of Splatoon 2. So like, pretty similar to the last one, but with maybe a few new areas, a few new mechanics, but all the assets will be used from the last Smash game, the Wii U and like the 3DS one. And I said I think at least one of the characters will be an ARMS character, and that there'll be an ARMS arena shown as like if they show gameplay, it'll be in an ARMS arena.
Oh yeah, Springman, right? We gotta have Springman in this game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I really hope they like. I never got into the character design behind the characters on them, and I really hope they make like a Springman amiibo. That'd be really cool to have.
Oh yeah, he's the most iconic character, I feel like.
Yeah. I think the character designs are all really, but yeah, Springman because he's the kind of mascot for ARMS. And then I went on to Fire Emblem. I said I think we'll get gameplay, and it's like a traditional Fire Emblem. It's not one set in space or in modern times or anything. It's like a medieval Japanese like themed game. I said I think that they'll still bring out 2 versions with a bundle for both at like around about $100, of which will only be available on the Nintendo eShop. And I think it's going to be like a holiday release, so like October, November time. So and that's going to be like the big game Nintendo push for Christmas this year.
It's still nuts though. We still haven't seen anything about this game. They announced this January 2017. That's nuts.
Yeah, I know. That's I kind of went hard on it because I know that they put like a 2018 release date on it, and because we've not seen anything, I think like it's either they're gonna delay it or they're gonna go very hard on it at E3 or after, between E3 and whenever it's released, if it is this year. So that's why I'm kind of thinking it's gonna be their holiday game.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think holidays is gonna happen.
Yeah. Next is I put Bayonetta 3. I think they show some gameplay. I think it's going to be released in 2019, but no specific date given. So just like 2019 year given as the release window. And I think after Smash, it will be like the most talked about game of the Nintendo Direct. I think people are going to be most excited for Bayonetta 3 after Smash. Like it's the game everyone's going to be speaking about when E3 ends. Then I put Yoshi, which was like another hard one because I feel like they announced it so long ago and have said nothing about it. But it must be coming soon, but I don't know when.
I hope so. Like that was a game I was really hyped for, and kind of don't understand why they've gone quiet on it.
Yeah, well, I've never really played a Yoshi game. Totally see myself just sitting on a weekend and just relaxing whilst playing it. It looks like really fun and
colorful.
Yeah,
definitely relaxing.
So Yoshi, I put they will show gameplay, and it will get a release date. I think they'll focus on like the story in quotation marks, kind of like they did with Kirby, where they're like, this is the story of what happens, and like kind of show off maybe some of his new like mechanics and moves. But then I think the game will actually get like its own direct later on in the year, just before it's released. And then I put it down as maybe a December game for Nintendo, kind of like
Xenoblade last year, right?
2. Yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was like if they want to get it out this year, maybe they put it out late, and the way the Switch is going right now, they're probably going to sell like 1.5 million copies of it anywhere whenever they put it out, which I think would be great for a Yoshi game. So maybe if they give enough time between Fire Emblem and December, maybe it'll come out in December. Which, yeah, I think if all these games do come out this year, we're gonna have very empty pockets by the end of the year.
Oh yeah, like it's so weird the dynamic change. First half of 2018, there wasn't really many games to buy. Now second half, every month is gonna be something to buy.
Yeah, which is great, I guess, but yeah, expensive. So I put for Metroid Prime 4. I put that we get like a CGI teaser trailer shown. After the trailer, it flashes a 2019 release. I don't think it's coming this year.
Agreed.
Okay. Next one is Pokemon. I am in the camp, or I hope that we're going to get like a direct before E3. I know the rumors are kind of circling that May 29th will be a Pokemon Direct. If so, I think the Direct will outline most of the new features, what they've changed. At E3, they will go into detail about the new story and about you being the rival if the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee rumors are right. I also think that they'll show new amiibo and new Joy-Cons for the game, which will be like red and white, like the Pokeball. And I think it'll be the first Nintendo game released in 2019, so early 2019 release.
I think it's 2018. I think they're gonna do it on November.
So yeah, I really hope it is. I just don't want to get myself too excited and then be like let down. So I'm like, okay, I can wait till 2019, even though I'm like kind of like shaking like a junkie to play some Pokemon.
Well, did you grow up with Pokemon?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I've played every game apart from Sun and Moon.
Okay, so you're pretty much a fan of lifelong, right?
Yeah, I was like the weird kid that like, after the Pokemon cards went out of fashion, I was still the guy that was like collecting Pokemon cards.
That was me too, man. That was me too.
Okay, yeah. High five through the screen.
Well, especially since you're going for Gen 1, allegedly, like, for nostalgia's sake, it's great for us, right?
Yeah, it's like, obviously, the first three generations really like resonate with me because they and yeah, obviously Gen 1 I think is like most people's favorites because it's the original one. But yeah, like I love Gold and Silver as well, and Ruby again, like just added so much more to the game. Like making your own hidden den or hidden base and stuff, which I loved. And then yeah, after that I kind of played them because I just don't think there's like another game like Pokemon out there. There's nothing, which I said a few shows ago, like I'm so surprised no one's really made like a clone of it. Like there's so many clones of Zelda and Mario, whatever, but Pokemon, for some reason, people just seem to have left it alone.
That's a good point. It must be hard to replicate, like, Yokai Watch is apparently compared to it, but it's not even close to Pokemon, right?
No, exactly. Other than, like, the collecting aspect, like, it's not the same. And, like, I actually saw a game, I think it's Kickstarter, starts in, like, 4 days, called Temtem, which is literally, like, kind of like what you're playing on YouTube, like an open world MMO, like, monster catcher game. And the monsters are all based on elements like Pokemon, and I haven't seen the catching mechanic yet, but I assume you throw like put balls at them to catch them or whatever. So I'm like really excited for when they release a Kickstarter to like really see what the game's about and if I'm willing to back it and if it's coming to Switch.
Could you imagine if Pokemon was open world? Like that would blow everyone's mind.
I know. Like my dream would be like they do, because like I'm 27 and like I grew up with the original Pokemon, and I feel like a lot of us who play Pokemon now were like kids back in the 90s and early 2000s who watched it and played it, and I feel like it would be great if they made a game that was like catered to us instead of it just being like always like PG and cartoony and fun and light-hearted. Like I would love for them to try and make it a bit more like adult and a bit more like, if you were walking down a street and a giant bee jumped out at you, like it wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, let's just have like a fun battle. You'd kind of be scared senseless. So like I'd love like an open world game like that where they are more like monsters, kind of like Monster Hunter, I guess.
Yeah, that would be a dream. I just don't know if it'll ever happen when Nintendo, right?
I don't think it'll ever happen, but one can dream. So then we go on to my what we don't know. So I put for retro that the new game is shown. It's the Star Fox Racing game, and I think that there'll be like a focus on the story of the game. Like I think there's going to be like, even though it's a racer, like some type of story behind it that is a lot more fleshed out than other Nintendo races. So like like Mario Kart, there isn't really a story. It's just tournaments over and over or whatever. Where I think this will have like a narrative behind it as to like why it's a Star Fox game that is only racing spaceships and there's maybe no battles or whatever. And I think at the end, a lot of people are going to be like won over by it. Kind of like, after the Mario versus Rabbids or Mario and Rabbids, when everyone heard it, they're like, why would Nintendo let Ubisoft pair Mario with Rabbids? And then they saw the reveal trailer and it was kind of like, oh, okay, like this actually looks interesting. I think this is going to be the same for Star Fox Grand Prix or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I'm confident in this because Retro Studios is handling it and they've been pretty great with recent games, so I'm very optimistic.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think that the idea is
wacky.
Kind of bewildering, but when you know the pedigree behind retro and the games they make, you kind of feel like, okay, it might not be the game everyone wants, but you know it's going to be like a class game, like a great game, like maybe not a great game, but a good game. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they've been working on. Then I put that I think there'll be more Wii U ports. Personally, I hope for a Paper Mario port and maybe like a Yoshi's Woolly World to try and get people like maybe hyped up for the Yoshi game if it comes out next year.
Did you have a Wii U, by the way?
No. Yeah, but it was like always one of those things where I saw these games like, I don't know, like Bayonetta or like Mario Kart 8, and I was like, these look like good games, but I don't want to spend money to buy a Wii U just to play these few games. And yeah, when the Switch was announced, I was like, oh, I hope they port these games. So I'm very much in the camp of like, yeah, just keep bringing the Wii U ports. Like I didn't play any of these games last time around, so I'm happy to pay full price for them now. But I understand why people who might have had a Wii U and already played these games don't want to play them. But for me, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just give me more stuff to play on my Switch.
And they're still selling more too, so definitely a lot of people haven't played
Yeah,
them.
exactly. Yeah, because I think that's exactly it. People that like Nintendo, but maybe were a bit wary of them after the Wii and Wii U, probably stayed away. But they were still bringing out these great games. And like another one I have here is Super Mario Bros. 2. Like, you know, maybe maybe that will be ported over. We've added like Odyssey content or levels. And yeah, another game that I missed. I played it on the 3DS, I think, but yeah, not the Wii U version. And yeah, it's a game I'd definitely pick up on the Switch.
I hope they port Xenoblade X. Like, that was a great game. I would love to play it on the Switch portably.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, I got Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so yeah, more Xenoblade would be great. Even though I only got about 5 hours into Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
You just need a long summer day to play it, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and then you know, like maybe like thing as well.
That's fair.
Yeah, and then I went on to third parties. So I kind of agree with you. There'll be a big third party paired with the online structure, and I said hopefully Fortnite that offers something a little bit different to Smash for when, like, because I personally I'm not really interested in Smash, but if Fortnite comes out around the time the Switch online structure does, then I'll definitely be playing Fortnite on my Switch. I think Bethesda will Renounce an exclusive game for the Switch, but it won't be like it won't be a Nintendo IP. They'll just be making a game for the Switch. Ubisoft will announce another Switch exclusive with a Nintendo IP. Maybe like something smaller, like a smaller IP, or they'll just announce another Mario and Rabbids. And then finally for the third parties, I said I hope I hope EA makes more of an effort, put some of their older games maybe over to the Switch. So like, what's it called? The space game.
Was it Mass Effect?
Horror. Yeah, well, Mass Effect would be great, but the horror one, Dead Space. Dead Space. Like, I'd love to see that come over, because again, it's a game I never played, and I'd be happy to play like a trilogy of it on the Switch, or maybe like, you know, the new Burnout Paradise. Like, I'd like to see a Switch version of that, because again, another game I've not really played. But I think all their stuff will be shown at their press conference. And my get hype moments, I put that Banjo-Kazooie gets announced for Smash. That we get to see some indie stuff, specifically like more indie developers or publishers exclusively publishing on the Switch. So like, I'd like to see Tiny Build. I know they just brought Garage to the Switch. I'd like to see them bring like another game or announce another game, or like Devolver Digital to bring some exclusive stuff over, because I think they have a lot on the PS4, which I can understand why they put it on the PS4, but I think they're probably like kicking their boots that they signed the exclusivity to PlayStation, and the Switch now is such like an indie success. And yeah, I'd like to just see more reasons for people to buy a Switch to play great indie games on them. And I would love if there was like an available now like announcement. So, you know, like, oh, we're talking about this game and it's available now on Nintendo eShop. And I personally think that could be Hollow Knight, because following Team Cherry, they seem to be very close to finishing the port. And I think Hollow Knight was on one of the first like the first promo reel for the Switch, which was like nearly over 2 years ago. So I think that could be like a game where they're like, yeah, we were talking about Hollow Knight. We said it's coming. It's finally coming, and you can buy it tonight at 9 p.m. or something.
What have they done that before with other indie games? Have they?
I'm not sure. I don't know about Nintendo. Like I know other developers have done it where they're like, yeah, we're talking about this game and it's available to buy now or available to buy in like 5 hours. So yeah, I'd love to see it with Hollow Knight because it's a game I really want to play. It's got like a lot of good reviews, and I watched quite a lot of YouTube content creators play it. So it's a game I've definitely been waiting for on the Switch. So, are you still there?
Oh, sorry, I think it cut off for a bit.
Yeah, no problem. So, yeah, that is our A3 predictions. Let me know what you think is going to happen at the Nintendo E3 conference. Hit me up over on Twitter at SwitchIndieFix or join the Switch IndieFix Discord at switchindiefix.com/Discord and just let us know there. We actually have one of our users, that's Stridius, I think you pronounce his name, is running not a competition, but we're having a competition on there to see who has the most accurate E3 predictions. So if you're interested in that, head over to the Switch IndieFix Discord. And finally, it is section 4. It is our question time. So thanks to everyone who wrote in this week with questions. If you have any questions for next week's show, again, head over to switchindiefix.com/SIF podcast. So the first question I really like. I really love these questions, so please keep them coming because it's very topical and relevant to some of this week's news, or at least some of this week's mainstream gaming news. And it comes from a user called Mario's Brother. So it says, after watching this week's Gymquisition, I wondered what your stance was on putting an hourly value on games. What I mean by this is if a game is 10 hours long and costs £10, then you are paying £1 an hour for £1 for an hour's gameplay. Jim was totally against it because it gives the idea that better games or longer games are better. Do you agree? So, Kool-Aid, I sent you this question last night. Did you have some time to think it over?
Yeah, this is a tough one, but I think I do disagree with Jim. I mean, for personal tastes, I prefer games that are longer, so I think better games are longer just for the sake of price efficiency. But definitely for true quality, you're right. Many games aren't that long. They don't have to be that long for true quality because they're so diverse within the genres. But for my sake, I would go with the longer games.
Yeah, I agree and disagree. I think, as always, it comes down to personal preference. And I think sometimes because I do get like free games to review, I'm kind of like, my judgment is warped on it because some games I don't pay for. And because I only review indie games, so usually they're cheaper. But like I was thinking about it, and it's like I reviewed like 3 or 4 games that were less than, say, like 5 hours long, and they were all great games. And like the way I usually look at it is if, like, I don't know, you get 5 hours content out of a game for, let's say, like €15 or $15. And it's like you could go to a cinema and watch like a really bad movie for 2 hours and still pay like $15 for that. So it's like, again, like your preference, do you prefer to watch like a movie for $15, like a really good one or a really bad one? Or would you play like a really good game for 5 hours? And of course there are like really terrible games for that price as well. But I don't know. I agree. Like, if you spend $60 on a game, you want the most. So like Witcher 3 is probably like a perfect example where you can play that for hundreds and hundreds of hours and still not finish the game if you really wanted to. But yeah, I think this is like an unusual thing to do and be like, okay, if you buy this indie game for £10 and you enjoy it for 10 hours and it's like, then you've paid £1 an hour, like, is that worth it to you? Or is the pound more important than the enjoyment you get from the game, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's tough to like equate it to like $1 per hour because at the end of the day, you can only judge it on the final product. And that's different for each person.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm trying to get across in like a very muddled and over complex way. But yeah, like and I think maybe Age of Boredom will agree. We both played a game called Old Man's Journey, which is like I think 2 hours long, and it's like a very light puzzle game. That main emphasis is on its like story. So the story is 2 hours long. There's not much gameplay, and I think it costs like $9.99. And when you read some of the reviews or some of the comments on reviews, you're like, well, why would I pay $9.99 for a game that's two hours long? And that's where I kind of come in and like, well, why would you pay $9.99 to watch a movie that's 2 hours long? Like, you know, it's up to the consumer. And for me, like the $9.99 is irrelevant for how much like the story impacted me, how much I enjoy playing the game, and how beautiful the game is, and how much time the developers put into the game. So for me, I don't think you can put like an hourly rate on a game, a price. But I understand why normal people would want to get the most content possible out of a game when they're using their hard-earned money to pay for it.
Yeah, I definitely feel this is definitely difficult to equate for indie games specifically because, I mean, generally they are cheaper than the full-fledged games, but like they're so different from each other, right? It's like there's an umbrella for people, like indie games is this, indie games is that, right? It's not general. It's very specific for each game.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can look at like Stardew Valley, which is an indie game, and a game people spend hundreds of hours in, and it's less than $15. So, you know, then do you say, well, I can spend 100 hours in Stardew Valley for $15, but then I play God of War for 30 hours and spent $60 on it, and it's like, well, I got longer out of Stardew Valley and it's cheaper. Does that mean it's a better game? Like, not necessarily. But does it also mean that God of War is a better game because it's I don't know, you know.
It's a good mind question, right? Like it really makes you think. The principles.
Yeah, that's why I really like this question, because yeah, it was on this week's Gymquisition, which was on Monday, and I really like the Gymquisition. I watch it every week, and yeah, I was really pleased to see this. So thank you, whoever wrote in. Let's move on to question number 2, and it comes from the only Age of Boredom. And this week, AOB asked very specifically about you, Kool-Aid. And the question is, what was the impetus for you to start your Reddit/Nintentube?
AJ Boredom's good at asking really good questions, right?
Yeah.
So Nintentube, so I'm a Nintendo content creator. So when I found out on Reddit that there are other promotional subreddits, I thought there would be one for Nintendo content creators. So I was surprised to find that there wasn't. So I just decided upon myself to do it. But the funny thing is, you can't create your own subreddit until your account is 30 days old. So I just created my account for KoolaidMoonWalk that day. So I had to wait 30 days to create it.
Yeah.
So around that 30 days, I was planning how to make it different from the other promotional subreddits, because what I've been seeing is that there's very little communications between creators on these subreddits. So definitely the tier system and the point systems and doing activities are part of our plan to incentivize users to interact with each other.
Yeah, which, like I said earlier, I think is working really well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like you see the same people commenting and interacting. It's great to see. I think it's growing every week.
Yeah, it's very encouraging for me as a smaller, like I said before, as a smaller content creator to see people reacting to the things I post on there.
Agreed, man. And I mean, it is a minority right now because we have, I think, 240 subscribers. So, but like it is discouraging when you see like, oh, it's very few people want to interact. But then I think about those people. I want to make it better for those people because they are given their time to be a part of a community.
Yeah, that's what's very like, and why I'm trying to push Discord a lot more is we have, I don't know, like I think like 30 people on the Discord, but there's maybe like the same 10 people that talk all the time.
Right.
And I just try and think of ways to be like, because you can see who's online and who's on offline, and there might be like 20 people online, but only 3 of them are talking. I'm like, well, how can I engage those people that are on Discord a lot but don't want to chat in our conversation? And that's why I'm trying to do this gaming chat, to try and get as many people together to get to know each other, and then hopefully encourages them to converse more on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think it's great because we're all passionate about the same thing. So we're making friendships over this, right?
Yeah, exactly. But what inspired you or drove you to do it via Reddit? Was there like a specific reason? Are you like a big Reddit user?
Yeah, I would say like I don't really use many social media. Like Reddit's the one I've been using for the last 2 years, and so I just thought, let's make a community. Like it could be something simple and easy.
Yeah.
And I just think Reddit's like it is. I feel it's very community based. Like I don't know, like Facebook and Twitter is like it's like for one person, and then you follow their status and all that. Reddit is just a simple community status.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like one kind of mass of people that, like you said, all have the same interest. They're all there for the same reason, and if you can create or think of good ways to get them to interact with each other, I think it works really well.
Definitely, we're always coming up with new ideas and activities to get people
the competition, the monthly awards. Like, it's really cool. It keeps me involved. Like, I have to admit, this last week or so, I've not been on so much, but usually, like, I've had the Reddit app on my phone for, I don't know, however many years, never use it, but now I look every day just because of Nintentube, just to see what's going on, what people are saying, what people are posting, and it's cool.
I appreciate it. Like even for me, like I was not really into indie games prior to Nintentube, but there's so many creators on Nintentube who make content about indie games. So you guys got me into this, right? I feel like that had an effect on
exactly,
people also.
And that's it. I feel like through it, I've met people like for specific needs for me. So I'm like, if I want to watch a Let's Play, I'm like, then I watch Age of Boredom, or like I watch you. Or if I want to watch like something about physical games, I watch like Alex Rigsby, and like then something a bit more upbeat and review heavy, then I go to like Mr. Panda. So like it's great to. I think a lot of people have like a stagnant YouTube subscriber thing, so I think Nintentube was a great way for me to be like, okay, these people all make Nintendo content, and they all do it, like have a specific speciality that they're all good at. So it's like, if I feel like this today, if I feel like a Let's Play, then I put on Age of Boredom. If I feel like watching Alex talk about like his video game haul for April, then I can just sit there and listen to him and wonder where he gets all his money from. Like it's really cool, and I encourage anyone who's into Nintendo content to go and check it out.
Definitely, the more people, the better, right?
Yeah, it just makes it stronger and stronger.
Agreed.
Cool. So, and the last question, I put one in there that I don't think we're going to read, the hopes and dreams one.
Oh,
the next
we already
one
covered that anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Sure.
So this final question comes from you. You are always a contributor to the show, so I thank you greatly for that. It's I'm trying to make the question section like a big section to encourage interaction with readers and with fans. So thank you for always writing in and giving great questions.
You're welcome.
So would you like to read it?
Sure. So my question for you is, has there ever been a moment for you where you and a person bonded over an indie game?
An indie game. So I actually thought about it, and honestly, I don't know. Like, I hope in the future, now that I'm kind of specializing in indie games and meeting people who also make like content around indie games, I hope there will be one where we get to bond over it. But no, like there are definitely times where I've played other games with people who I didn't really know that well, and through playing them, we've become friends, or people that talk regularly. The prime example is CLA, who like I say, he's very notorious in our Discord chat, and I think in every Discord chat he's been in. But we got to know each other through a kind of funny Discord, because it was when Destiny 2 came out, and I remember I think I was trying to run a Nightfall on there and asked for help, and he signed up, and another guy who he was just a guy, name I've forgotten, and then he he was a funny guy, interesting, knows a lot about video games. So we started playing quite regularly. And like recently, we haven't really played much together, but I always like seeing him pop into the Discord. So that was a really cool way to meet him through Destiny 2 and through Kind of Funny.
Yeah, for me, like I haven't had experience because I recently only got into indie games. Like the first indie game I ever bought was last year, a Golf Story. So for me,
okay.
I haven't had that experience yet, but
yeah,
if Rocket League is considered an indie game, I'm sure that will help me bond with someone because I'm addicted to that game, right? So
I would consider it indie.
Oh yeah,
like I guess it's mainstream, like very mainstream now, but it comes from indie roots.
Right. Like I'm sure there's people who bonded over Stardew Valley or Binding of Isaac, right? Like there's some really big cult classics.
Well, it's cool to see now on Twitter because Stardew Valley just came out on Vita, and like all the Vita fans that have been kind of hiding in their caves because the Vita slowly sunsetting. It's nice to see them all interacting with each Stardew Valley on Twitter, which is really really cool to see.
Oh, I'm surprised. So they just released it now for the PSP or Vita.
Yeah, it's like cross-buy, I think.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because it's known as an indie machine, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think Nintendo, the Switch is slowly kind of taking that crown off them, but it's nice to see them get like one final hurrah for, with Sony shutting down the game card production in the West. It's nice to see them get like another one final indie gem releasing on the platform.
Yeah, definitely. But hopefully those come to the Switch now. we need them now.
Yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Okay, so I'm going to end the show there because we've been going for quite a while. We had a good conversation there. So that's it for this week's show. Thank you all for listening, and please remember to review, share, like it wherever you listen to it. Remember, it's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Podcasts, and it will be no longer on SoundCloud. So if you listen to it on SoundCloud, I'm sorry, but they're like asking me to pay them per month now to use the service, and there's just not enough people listening there for me to justify paying for it. So please, I'm sorry, but if you listen to it there, then please try somewhere else to listen to it. Please make sure you check out Koolaid and his content over on YouTube, and remember to check out r/Nintentube for some awesome content from smaller and newer Nintendo content creators. Again, it's my favorite subreddit. Make sure you check it out. Koolaid, I'd like to thank you for coming on. It was really awesome of you to do this with us or with me. I look forward to working with you on some other projects in the future, hopefully.
Thank you. This is really fun for me to be a part of. Yeah,
and again, this is all through us talking on Reddit and us talking on Discord, and getting to know cool people, cool like-minded people. So again, I encourage people to go over to r/Nintentube and check it out. So if you would like to become part of the Switch Indie Fix community, join our Discord at switchindiefix.com/Discord, and let me know what you thought of this week's show over on the Discord or over on Twitter at Switch Indie Fix. Don't forget, if you have questions, let me know over at switchindiefix.com/SIF podcast, and you could get a mention on next week's show, just like Koolaid and Mario's brother and Age of Borden did. And for all things on the Nintendo Switch, head over to switchindiefix.com. Thanks a lot for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week.